Hey guys, I'm Chase Brogan. Today in this video we're diving into the RG52 Mini plug-and-play handheld video game console, preloaded with over 5,000 games. Now, what games are included on here? We're going to find out in this video. This features a 5.5-inch 720 IPS display, Hall effect triggers for improved durability and precision, and a sizable 5,000 mAh battery designed for extended gaming sessions up to 8 hours on a single charge. Under the hood, it's powered by the Rockchip RK3562 processor and runs EmuELEC, giving you access to a wide variety of classic game emulators and collections all at your fingertips. So in this video, we're going to take a closer look at the hardware, the software, the emulation performance, and of course, what games are included straight out of the box to see if the RG52 Mini is actually worth buying or not. Alright guys, before we jump right back into this handheld game console, I want to take a moment to thank today's video sponsor, Anker. Now, whether you're trying to keep your phone and all your devices charged throughout the day, traveling or gaming on the go, having reliable charging gear makes a huge difference. And that's exactly what Anker is known for. First up is the Anker Nano fast charger. One of the things I immediately like about this charger is just how compact it is. It's incredibly small, so it's easy to throw into a pocket, backpack, laptop bag, or even a carry-on without taking up much space at all. Despite the small size, it still delivers up to 45 watts of charging power, making it a great option for smartphones, tablets, handheld gaming devices, and even laptops. Now, when I'm not on the go and I'm back at my desk, I'm using the Anker Prime Wireless Charging Station. This is a foldable 3-in-1 charging station that allows you to charge your phone, wireless earbuds, and smartwatch all at the exact same time from a single compact setup. Instead of having charging cables scattered across your entire desk or nightstand, everything stays organized and in one place. It supports Ultra Qi2 wireless charging with up to 25 watts of power for compatible devices, helping you spend less time waiting for your devices to charge and more time actually using them. It also features Anker's air-cool active cooling system, which helps maintain charging performance while keeping temperatures under control, all while operating quietly in the background. Whether you need a powerful charger that you can take anywhere with you, or a premium charging station to keep all your daily devices powered up in one place, Anker has a solution that fits the job. If you'd like to learn more about either of these products, click the links in the description of this video. And with that, let's jump straight back into this retro handheld game console.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start opening this up. So I can already tell this is a good size handheld. I'm going to set that aside just for a moment. So we've got a USB-A to Type-C cable inside here. This is going to be your charging cable. So obviously plug that end into a PC, into a power bank, into a power outlet if it supports USB-A connection. Type-C is going to plug directly into the actual handheld. Just want to make sure there's nothing else hiding in here. And of course there is. You always got to take out the liner. So we've got a protector for the actual screen here. This is wipes. We have a wet wipe, dry wipe, and then some stickers just to remove any debris or hair or anything like that that may fuzz, that may stick to the actual screen. So you go ahead and prep everything, then you put your protector on there. We also have our user manual down here at the bottom. So this is basically going to walk through, your different basic functions, navigation, all that good stuff. So I'm going to set all that aside and let's bring out the actual handheld itself now. All right, so we've got that hunter green sort of color. Now this does feel really lightweight, very nicely sculpted though, so it balances very nicely in my hands. We've got a 4-button configuration over here, A, B, X, and Y, dual analog sticks. Now the action on the analog sticks, to be perfectly honest, doesn't feel great right now. We do have the button function built into that, but it doesn't feel like Hall effect. I saw that in the specs for this, that it was Hall effect triggers and shoulder buttons, which feel very good up here. You can see the action on those hinged trigger buttons, but yeah, the analog sticks just, it feels very cheap, if I'm being perfectly honest. Just, first reaction there. So D-pad over here on the left-hand side, which feels pretty good. So we do have these yellow buttons here. They don't really look like buttons. It actually looks like the paint job, but they are buttons. So we have a home button, a back button up here. Right over here we have our select, and right over here we have our start. So that's pretty much everything there. If we go down here to the bottom, we've got our audio jack cable connection right there, so if you want to plug headphones in, you can easily do that. We've got our SD card slot, which has the SD card with over 5,000 games loaded in, and we have our Type-C port at the bottom, which is going to be, again, how we charge that with our charging cable. So if we go up here to the top, we have our power button over here. We've got a reset button. What's really cool is that we actually have a mini HDMI output So you could take a mini HDMI to regular HDMI cable, and you could take this and plug it from the console directly over into a TV if you wanted to, and you'd be able to basically use this as a controller and play on screen. So that's pretty cool. I don't have a mini HDMI cable with me, but maybe I'll do a follow-up video in the future to test that out. Now, we also have our plus and minus over here for volume control. That's always super important on handhelds or any emulation device, simply because emulators and different games for different collections, they always seem to have very different audio levels. So you want to be able to externally make those adjustments. This enables you to do exactly that. Now, in terms of the layout here, this feels very comfortable, feels very much like a Steam Deck, obviously a smaller scale, much lighter weight, but definitely seems to have good action on that shoulder button. There's no sweet spot, so you can actually press it anywhere on the surface, and it seems to engage the same way. You can see the speed that I'm hitting those. The trigger buttons here, they're hinged, seem to be very nice. And these are all Hall effect up here at the top. So if we turn this completely around to the back side, you see we do have some ventilation back here. We also have a little bit of ventilation across the top where that mini HDMI port is, but that's pretty much the entire design. I do like the sculpted feel right here. It balances very nicely in your hands, and you can see it is a little bit of a ribbed surface, so it just gives you a little something else to grab onto. So we're gonna go ahead and, oh, and speakers. Speakers are located down here at the bottom, which is great placement because there's nowhere where your hand is going to obstruct the speakers and, you know, distort the audio or make it harder to hear. So let's go ahead and power this on. We're going to go up here to the top. Oh, you know what? I should have checked the capacity of this. I believe it's 64 gigabytes. If it's not, I'll make sure I highlight that at the tail end of this video. But now that I booted it up, I want to launch it and test out some games. First thing we'll do though is we'll comb through the different collections. We'll see how many games are included. So I thought it was over 5,000. It's 5,000 even on here. You can see 5,000 here for our master list. We have a battery life indicator right there. 5,000 milliamp hour battery inside here. So we should be able to get about 8 hours of use out of this. Now, since we turned this on, I noticed the RGB lighting that goes around both of the analog sticks. That's pretty sharp, looks really cool there. So it's a very nice looking handheld. I'm interested to see how these analog sticks actually perform. As we scroll through, you can see we're going collection by collection, but let's go to the all games list. All right, so I adjusted my lighting there, but you can see that we have a text list on the left-hand side. I was about to say nothing is scraped, but there are some scraped titles in here, and scraped just means that you get the graphics that go with it. So it's usually gonna be box art, which is right there, a logo, which is right here, and a screenshot in the background. So it just gives you a little more to bite down into. You know, you're not scrolling and just going solely off of a text list over here on the left, but it doesn't look like everything is scraped. So some some games have the images, some don't. Seems like it's pretty well split. You can see, we'll go collection by collection and get a better understanding, I think, but let me hit B. I'm also going to turn down the volume. All right, so next collection is gonna be favorites. Favorites is going to be a collection that you set up yourself. You can just add titles in here that you wanna have readily available and have easy access to. Next one over is Amstrad CPC with 27 games. We'll take a quick look inside here. So all of these appear to be scraped. You can see as we highlight each title, like if we go over here to Driller, for example, we get the graphics that go along with it. If we go down to Elite, there we go, and so on. So Gauntlet 2 right here, you see how that populates in. Just looks more polished, easier to navigate and to make selections from, especially if you don't maybe remember the title, but you know, the actual screenshot or cover art or logo rings a bell. So we'll back out of Amstrad CPC, but 27 games there. We've got Final Burn Neo over here with 1,209 games. If we jump into this, you can see that the majority of these appear to be scraped. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is they use the file name, not the entire, actual title. So it can be a little bit hard to navigate. Like AB Cop works fine, right? AB Cop, you can see what that is, but like this one right here, some of them are a little bit harder to actually navigate and make selections for. And then some of the screenshots, like this one, was just a test screen, or this one's just a black screen. So it's just not super well polished, but hey, if the games work, it's not a deal breaker at the end of the day. Next collection over is, of course, MAME, probably my all-time favorite collection. 1,484 games if we go inside here. Now this is very nicely scraped. We have the logo, we have the cover art there, or box art, which is kind of, made up for MAME since you didn't really get a box for an arcade game, but Still gives you a little bit more graphics to kind of choose from. And then we also have the screenshot. So I definitely like the way it's scraped. However, it's still the file names over here instead of the typed out names. So can be a little bit difficult, like Afterburner is Aburner 2 is Afterburner 2, you know, and each of these is going to be abbreviated like that. So you kind of have to choose from this, like Alien 3, the gun, it's abbreviated to Alien 3, not a big deal there, but some of them are a little bit harder to navigate. So let's back out. And actually, you know what? Let's search for a couple titles here. Can we hit select and search? It looks like we can. We go to the jump to, and like say I'm looking for WWF WrestleFest. We'll go over to W. Actually, let's go over to X because that'll speed up the process. And then we just go up. WWF WrestleFest is right there. WrestleMania is there as well. But you can see WWF WFEST is how they put WrestleFest in here. So again, just a little bit difficult to navigate, but you find it at the end of the day. So let's back out of MAME. Next one over is Atari 2600 with 31 games. Nothing in here appears to be scraped, which is interesting. We have Capcom System 1 with 32 games, we have Capcom System 2 with 36 games, and we have Capcom System 3 with 4 games. So that's your typical count for each of those collections. We have PC Engine next with 334 games. Nothing appears to be scraped in here. Let's go over to Capcom and just see. These are scraped, and they're scraped very nicely. It's a big image, makes it easy to make your selection, especially since they're abbreviating those damn titles again. So PC Engine, they don't abbreviate the titles, but they don't give you any scraped data. So yeah, I'm not crazy about the way that it's laid out, but hey, if the games work, like I said, that's the majority of the importance, I suppose. NES, 96 games. Now, over here, it looks like nothing is scraped. I want to see if we have the Mario titles, though, because a lot of times that stuff gets left off of emulation these days for obvious reasons, and it doesn't appear that we are having any Mario titles in here. So we don't have Super Mario, none of that was populating in at the bottom. Yeah, we have Super Fight, but yeah, no Super Mario. Okay, that's worth mentioning. Sega SG-1000, 63 games. You can take a look inside here. Not abbreviated, but no scraped data. Next up, we have Sega Game Gear with 244 games. Very nicely scraped. This one's put together perfectly. Everything's perfect in terms of the text list. The actual scraped data is on point as well. So this is probably the most polished collection thus far. Next collection over is going to be Sega Mega Drive, one of my favorites, 1,024 games. And this is put together very nicely as well, very similar to the previous collection. A lot of crossover there as well. Mega Drive 32X next from Sega, 20 games over here. No scraped data, but the text list is nicely put together. Next up, we have Dreamcast. Only 5 games for Dreamcast. I love Dreamcast. Let's see what 5 games we get. We get Crazy Taxi 2, Dead or Alive 2, Giga Wing 2, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So looks like mostly all sequels. Very good games, though. I'd love to see more than just 5, but you can always add in more games if you wanted to. You'd have to clear out space elsewhere though, or simply upgrade the SD card to a higher capacity. So we'll definitely be checking that out. I want to see what the performance is like on Dreamcast. 300 games over here for Neo Geo. That's a lot of Neo Geo games, and it looks like we have different sets on here, so there are duplicates. It looks like they're abbreviated and they're not scraped. We have Neo Geo Pocket, 43 games over here. Nicely put together, but no scraped data again. PlayStation, 23 original PlayStation games and no scraped data. Looks like a good selection, though. We got some Capcom versus SNK. We got some Castlevania. We got some Crash Bandicoot over here. Crash Team Racing, one of my all-time favorites. We've got Double Dragon. We got some Final Fantasy. We've got Marvel vs. Capcom. We've got Mortal Kombat, Need for Speed, Ridge Racer Type 4. We've got Tekken. We've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And we've got Vigilante 8 to end the list. So 23 games in total there. Next up is PSP, 25 PSP games. And no scrape data here either, but we've got Assassin's Creed, we got some Castlevania, we got some Dragon Ball Z, we got some FIFA, we've got God of War. Looks like MotoGP, Metal Slug, Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny, probably my favorite game right there for this particular collection. We've got Spider-Man 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we've got WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, which is one that you don't typically see on handhelds like this. So let's back out, 25 games PSP, and then we're back to our all games list. So that's the entire tour of what's offered here. So next up, we're going to dive into some gameplay. We're going to see how everything performs on here, and we'll talk about the experience.
Battle 1. Fight. Battle 2. Fight. Battle 3. Fight. Eat this. Here you go.
All right, guys, we jumped into the RG52 Mini right here, and first off, this is basically a budget-friendly Steam Deck. It's got the same sort of layout and design as a Steam Deck, but obviously much more budget-friendly, and I would say probably not going to be as durable or as reliable, though I can't really speak to that because I've only had this now for about a week. I've been playing it quite a bit. It's a great experience. But, you know, is it going to rival a $500 or $600 unit? No, definitely not. This is budget friendly for a reason. It's lighter weight, the materials are lesser quality, but still, it's a solid option here. And right around $100, $120, you really can't go wrong with something like this. So first off, let's talk about the controls. The controls on here are very good. All the buttons are responsive. The A, B, X, and Y, I played a bunch of different games as you guys saw. I played way more than I even showed in this video. No issues whatsoever. I love the trigger buttons on here, which I've never said about a hinged trigger setup on any handhelds in the past. These are Hall effect triggers. They're super comfortable, they engage perfectly, and they feel great playing. Now, the shoulder buttons, there's no sweet spots, so you don't have to pinpoint a specific location when you engage those buttons. You can hit it on the edges, you can hit it on the other side edges, you can hit it dead center, and it performs the exact same way consistently. Now, I was a little bit concerned about the analog sticks on here. They are not Hall effect analog sticks, and they definitely don't feel like it. However, they did seem to break in a little bit as I started gaming on here, and they feel much looser and more responsive than they did right out of the box. So I do think you have to kind of break them in a little bit, just get them moving around, and they feel much better. Still not Hall effect, but they navigate your way through the games effectively. So I can't really be critical of that. And, you know, at least my initial concerns, you know, kind of fell by the wayside there. Buttons, I love the aesthetic of this. I like the fact that we got the hunter green with the yellow highlights on the 4 buttons. Did have to get used to home and back being at the top. Usually they're at the bottom in most handhelds. So I kept hitting like select on like arcade games to put coins in, and it would pull up, you know, it would activate the home button, or I would hit start, or what I, you know, muscle memory told me was start, and it would exit the game because it's back on here. So after a couple of games, I got used to the new layout. D-pad also very responsive. Now, in terms of the audio quality, we only have 2 speakers on here, but it gets super loud. And we also have that external volume control, so we can make adjustments without having to go into the settings within games and all that stuff. So very convenient to make sound adjustments or audio adjustments on here, as you're gonna have to do, you know, with different emulators and different games. Like Genesis, volume levels are different than PlayStation or PSP. So very convenient to make those adjustments. I like the fact that we have the mini HDMI. I honestly didn't use it. I'm down here in Florida right now filming this video. Don't have a mini to regular HDMI to try that out, so I might do a separate video later on to see how that actually feels, but I love the fact that it's an option on here at the very least. Now, screen size, we have a great screen size here. It's a 720 resolution IPS display. 720, not super impressive by today's standards. I'd love for it to be 1080p resolution, but when you think of the games you're playing on here, 720 really isn't a deal breaker by any means. And most importantly, the screen does look very vibrant. The colors look great on here. Very nice contrast and brightness, so can't complain about that. Now, in terms of the performance when gaming on here, I was really pleasantly surprised that this can handle all the games that are included on here. There's 5,000 games included, and it handles everything perfectly, even PSP, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. No issues there. Didn't have to go into settings and adjust frame rates on PSP, so pleasantly surprised that it can handle all of what's offered perfectly. The only downside is it's a 64 gigabyte micro SD card that's installed within here, that's going to limit the amount of games you can get on there. So PSP had a limited number of games, PlayStation, Dreamcast only had 5. All 5 ran perfect. I tested a lot more games than I'm showing you guys in this video, just so this isn't like a 2-hour video. But I'd love to expand upon the offering here. I'd love to have a Dreamcast collection with 100 games. So the way to do that would be, you need to upgrade that 64 gigabytes up to like 256. You can even go up to 512 gigabytes on here and just get a massive library of titles. There's also no Nintendo IP on here, so no Mario, no Donkey Kong, no Zelda. None of that is going to be found on here. And most of us love those games. I love Mario Kart 64. There's actually no N64 on here, but when Dreamcast, PSP, and PlayStation run as well as they do, I have no doubt that N64 will run perfect on here too. So what I may end up doing in the future is upgrading that SD card, redoing the entire setup, because as we comb through collection after collection, I was not impressed by the layout. The text list is fine on here, but a lot of the titles, as you saw, it's just using the file names rather than typing out the entire title list. And a lot of collections were not scraped or inconsistently scraped. So, you know, it made my OCD a little bit crazy to comb through everything, but at the end of the day, at least all the games perform well on here. It's a very good handheld. The setup was just a lazy setup. So I would upgrade the micro SD card, upgrade the entire setup, add my own ROMs into the mix here, add the games that I really want to play, like Mario Kart 64. This is a great starter, but it can be so much better if you put some time in. You create a micro SD card specifically for this, you expand upon it, you make it your own, and you scrape it in a way that actually looks aesthetically pleasing. But still, for what you get here, you get serious bang for your buck. There's a lot of handhelds that come, like the Retroid Pocket 5 that I just did a stream with Stevie Richards on. That particular one doesn't come with any games. You have to source all the games yourself. So this at least gives you a great starting point, 5,000 games. It's not perfect, but it's something to get you started with, and then you can make it your own and expand upon it. So huge fan of this. I think it's a great option. I think it's super comfortable to use and currently available for just over $100. I think that's a great price point in 2026 for a retro game handheld this size with the performance that this offers. So click the links, guys, in the description of this video. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. Be sure to hit subscribe. Give me a like on the video, please, if you appreciate the content, and I'll see you guys on the next one.